A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to today's news analysis. We are doing the Indian Express papers Chandigarh edition. Now let us quickly look at the topics that we are covering. So first of all, it is Cyprus Confidential. So here we'll be looking at the aspects of tax haven, tax evasion, money laundering, double taxation and avoidance agreement. So all those things. Briefly, we'll see how things can be asked in the mains paper. Then, today is 15th of November. Prime Minister promised that he will launch a scheme for the tribal population. So this is PM Janjaa Adivasi Nyay Maha Abhiyan. Right. So this we covered yesterday. Today there's an advertisement telling us the key outline of this scheme, which is the same which was anticipated earlier, by the way. Okay. Then there is a mention of Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra. So again, we'll see what that is. Moving on, we have from 8 to 10 editorials and opinions. Right. So food inflation, particularly cereal inflation, is covered in the editorial. Yesterday it was there in the news, today there is in the editorial. Then, very important, responsible military use of artificial intelligence. So what is India's stand on that, right? Where do we stand on the use of AI or weaponization of AI? So all that is briefly mentioned in the opinion section. Now this topic can be important from GS3 point of view, science and tech. It can also be from an ethical dimension. Okay. Then if you look over here, 12 to 14 is economy related news. So now coming to the first topic, that is Cyprus Confidential. So Cyprus Confidential is basically an exercise done by International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. So this is kind of a not-for-profit organization and investigative agency basically, but nothing to do with the state. So they, plus on Indian side, Indian Express newspaper, so they have gone through number of documents, about 3.6 million documents, and they have found that Cyprus is providing a tax haven. It is providing a tax haven. That is, Cyprus is a low tax jurisdiction. Anybody from India or anywhere in the world can come. If they have money, they can put it over here, right? And then it will be taxed. It will not be taxed, or the taxation would be very low. Plus, nobody will ask you the source of money, etc., 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 like it may happen in India or any other country. So it is a tax haven. In fact, you may get your citizenship also very quickly. It is offering a golden passport. You have money, take citizenship. Golden passport. Okay. So Cyprus is a tax haven. What is the concern for India? We see that number of Indians, high net worth individuals like Vinod Adani, Surendra Hiranandani, Pankaj Oswal, etc., etc., they have been parking their money in Cyprus. Right? No questions, very few, no or very few questions asked about source of money, low tax jurisdiction. So these people can avoid taxation in India by putting their money in Cyprus. And previously also we have seen cases, for example, in 2013, there was a document known as offshore leaks, then HSBC Swiss leaks, Panama Papers, Paradise Papers. So like that previously also happened. So this is no exception. Okay. So from exam point of view, the following themes come to light. All of this from GS3. So one is tax avoidance and tax evasion. Tax avoidance, we all of us do. We use schemes, etc., so that we don't have to pay tax. Now, when there is a tax liability, but you do not pay, you use unfair means, that is tax evasion. right? So people, let's say from India, they have a high tax obligation. They say, okay, fine, we'll go to a low tax jurisdiction. We claim to be resident of that country. So that can be done. You may be having business operations over here, but registering your company in Cyprus. So that is an example of, again, tax evasion, or having shell companies, etc. So that is tax evasion. Next, double tax avoidance agreement. India is signing a double tax avoidance agreement with various countries, so that also comes to light. In fact, with Cyprus also they have done. So first of all, what is double tax avoidance agreement? So you see, this is the world of multinational corporations, and it may be that a particular individual has a business in one country, other country, etc. Now, whichever country you reside, or in fact operate also, you have to pay the income tax. The companies have to pay the corporation a corporate tax. So that has to be paid. Now imagine you're paying tax over here also, 30% on your profit. You're paying tax in another jurisdiction also. So that is wrong, right? Both countries will claim that we have the right to tax. So to avoid such a situation, double tax avoidance agreement is there. That is, if India signed with that, so there is some sort of an arrangement that the person concerned will pay tax only in one jurisdiction. Now imagine India and Cyprus have double tax avoidance agreement. In that case, if somebody says is operating in India, let's say, and with Cyprus also, so they say that we have paid taxes in Cyprus, so Indian authorities cannot levy a tax, right? So that can be then there. So that may lead to tax evasion. You're transferring your profits to another country and not paying a tax to India. So that is again DTAA, double tax avoidance agreement, and associated issues. Associated issues is basically tax avoidance, tax evasion, plus dual tax still taking place, double taxation still taking place. So those are the issues. Then of course, this can be a mean for money laundering, right? For example, Cyprus, nobody is asking you from where the money is coming. So let's say illegally obtained money, let's say from India, it goes to Cyprus. So it is now registered. Now it is white money. This money again then comes back into India. So first money is laundered away and then it comes back into India. So round tripping is taking place. So that black money becomes a white money. So again, and this money laundering is a way of avoiding taxation. It is also a way of funding organized crime syndicates. So that can also be there. So converting the black money gotten from criminal acts, criminal proceeds, and then putting them in Cyprus, and again putting this back into India through legitimate means. So these are the associated issues that I feel can be important for your mains paper. But again, we will need to go through a lot more content than what I have shared with you. Okay, next news is this scheme which was launched on 15th of, which is launched today, 15 November 2023. जनजातीय कल्याण PM जनजातीय आदिवासी न्याय महाअभियान, right? So this scheme is there. It is also said as PM Janman. So this is a scheme specifically for particularly vulnerable tribal groups, वंचित और विशेष रूप से कमजोर जनजाति. Okay, so for these people, so 24,000 crores are allocated for this. Time span is not mentioned. So this will be used to create basic amenities like secured housing, clean drinking water, cleanliness, right? Health, diet, malnutrition, portion. So dietary issues, road connectivity, telecom communication, etc. So basic amenities shall be provided under this scheme, under this umbrella scheme. And this will be in addition to the already existing schemes like Ayushman Bharat Yojana, sickle cell anemia mission, right? So sickle cell anemia, so all those things. So these schemes are already there. Next, the one in the yellow over here, or orange kesari color, is telling us about what has the government done for the tribal population. So it tells us that first of all, 15th November is celebrated as Janjatiya Gaurav Divas. So this is on the birth anniversary of God Birsa Munda. Now, God Birsa Munda is a very important personality as far as exam is concerned, right? It's very important. We need to study more. Repeatedly, questions and prelims are being asked on him. Now, besides this, 10 Janjatiya Swatantra Senani Sangrahalaya, tribal freedom fighters museum are created. Then 50 lakh Pakka housing is provided. So that is there, plus 1.5 crore toilets are built. Sickle cell anemia scheme is there. So for that, there is a scheme. Then Eklavya school. So school for the tribal Eklavya schools have been built. Then mission, One Dhan mission. So now what is this One Dhan vision? One is basically village, right? One is village, Dhan is money. The focus of the One Dhan mission is to provide income to the forest dwellers, so providing them income. And one of the main occupations for the forest dwellers is collecting of minor forest produce. So providing them with market access and providing MSP for minor forest produce. So that is One Dhan Yojana. So that is the main component besides focusing on tribal startups, etc. So those are also there. Skill upgradation, all these things are also there. Next, yesterday in the newspaper, there was a mention of a High Court ruling of of Punjab and Haryana High Court ruling that if there is a dog bite that takes place, then the compensation was defined. Right? For example, one teeth mark is there, then 10,000 rupees shall be given. So like that, it was there. So what comes to light is the issue of dog bites. Now, I think that this is a governance issue which can be taken up as ethics and case studies question, right? So, for example, in your place, you are the counselor or you are an administrator, and in your place, there are these issues of dog bites, frequent dog bites. People have come to you for the suggestion. They want the culling of dogs. Culling means killing of the dogs, but you are concerned that there is an ethical dimension, right? The concerns of the animal rights. So, what would you do in such a situation? Right? So ethics point of view, the case study can be asked. So, what are the series of steps that can be taken, or what options are available to you? Now, typically there is sterilization, right? Sterilization takes place, culling of animals take place. So that is there, plus advisories and guidelines are created. So those are the steps that the government normally takes. Next is, okay, this is an issue between the Punjab governor and the Punjab government, right? They have gone to the court on a number of issues. Now, one of the issues was the issue of the government adjourning the house, and by government I mean the Council of Ministers. They are adjourning the house sine die, not going to the governor for prorogation. So let me explain these terms first. So you see Vidhan Sabha is there, the state legislative assembly. So they have this session, right? Session is a number of sittings that take place. So once the session is to be closed so that the next session convenes, so the in-between time, it is known as the house is prorogued. It is known as prorogation. So prorogation essentially means termination of the house. It's the termination of the house session. So session is number of days when the house is meeting or sittings. So prorogation ends it, and then the next session starts by is resumed after the cancellation of the prorogation. Or sorry, the word is summoned. The governor summons it. Okay. So what is the typical process? So first of all, it's the speaker who adjourns the house. Now adjournment could be any sitting is adjourned for, let's say, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, next day adjourned. But when the session is to be closed, the speaker first adjourns the house sine die or indefinitely. Then it goes to the governor, and governor then prorogues the house. Right, so that happens. And then eventually when the session is to take place, the governor summons it. Now what is happening with the Punjab is that they are adjourning it sine die, but not going to the governor so that he is able to prorogue it. So again, some of the issues between the elected representatives of the state and the governor. This is something very unique, actually. First time I'm seeing this happening. Next, Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, starting from the land of Lord Birsa Munda. So Prime Minister has launched this scheme, this yatra, Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra. Viksit means developed India, Bharat. So this scheme, this is basically, the government has number of schemes, number of flagship schemes. So to make sure that the schemes reach every district, every village of the country. So that is the idea. Sometimes you will read, the idea is to ensure saturation of flagship government schemes. That is, there are certain places where the schemes are not completely implemented. So focus a final push so that the scheme is completed, reaches its completion, saturation. So for Jharkhand, it is mentioned elections are taking place. So Jharkhand related things are mentioned, but number of schemes are there. All of them can be clubbed together into this Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra. For example, there may be a place where Ayushman Bharat scheme, there is still the scope is there in implementation. So push for it. Next, Center considers seeking access to anonymized data of big tech firms. So big tech firms are your Google, Amazon, Facebook, WhatsApp, etc. Right? So they have user data. All of us have registered with them. They have user data. Plus, besides this, they have actually profiled us. They know if we are looking to buy a heater or what all, right? They have all that information with them, with or without our consent. So they have this data of us. The central government wants that the anonymized data, all this data aggregated, anonymized data should go to the government. Anonymized data has been explained over here. It is data, an aggregated data or which is non-personal, through which we cannot identify an individual. So that is an anonymized data. Data is there, but you cannot identify the individual. So that's it actually. Now, why does now the government seeks this information through the recently proposed Digital India Bill. So then Digital India Bill is also briefly stated. It just states that it is the upcoming series of IT regulation, which includes the IT Act, the Digital India Bill. So all those things are mentioned. Okay, so Digital India Bill. Now, why does the government want? So one is that all this data is the bedrock of AI models. Artificial intelligence works on machine learning, right? So, and that happens with the feeding of data to the machines, computers. So data will help government with this. Second, I feel is that this will help government with policy making. Further, It is widely believed that this data can be monetized. The government can then again shell out this to startups, etc. This data, so the government data can be monetized. Plus, today data is seen as the new gold, right? So that is also there. Okay, so that is there. In fact, previously the government had come up with the norms on data localization. That is, the data does not go to outside service, but it remains within India. Next, very interesting GS3 topic. You know, all this metro is there, railways is there, airports are there. So they are running their business, their core business. Metro's core business is ticketing business from the tickets that passengers pay for. Likewise, airports also, people come, they have to buy that ticket or whatever. Railways also, they run their trains. But besides this, it is seen that they are earning more money through their non-core businesses. So core is very clear. But they're making more money from their non-core businesses. Railways, I don't think they are making more money, but Railways has this IRCTC. IRCTC is having this ticket business, right? But they are also providing, they provide for catering, etc. Then coming to the issue of metros. Now we know metro, for example, DMRC, Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. So company, basically, public sector company. They make metro, they run metros. But their main business, their main source of revenue additional is consultancy. They are providing consultancy on construction, etc. and metro construction to other DMRC related organizations in other states. Likewise, airports is earning money through airports have lot of land. So you must, when you go to the airport, you can see mall-like facilities. So you can see a lot of restaurants there. So renting out their land for commercial purposes. So non-core businesses. Now, why is this important? By itself, these entities are not profit-making by itself, because obviously there is a social objective also. So they are not, the core business may not be very profitable, may not be profitable enough to run their business also, the core business. They may have to borrow it from the government. But non-core businesses may help it in subsidizing their core business so that the core business cost remains low. Plus, it remains financially viable. So those things can be said. So again, I think, from GS3, we should just keep an eye on this topic. That's all I'm saying. You should be aware that this is a possibility. Next, we come to the editorial opinion page. So first one, it is simply an extension of the yesterday's news where we got to know that cereal inflation, so it said food inflation is high, but cereal inflation is 10.65%. So that is the thing. So let's quickly go through it again now. So inflation, RBI governor said that it remains vulnerable to overlapping food price shocks. Right. So inflation is for the month of September, it was 7.44%. Right. So 7.44%. So that inflation is there. Now, if you look at this inflation, break up this inflation over here. So there is headline inflation. Headline inflation is normal inflation figures that you get. So that is 7.44%. This includes volatile items like crude prices. The prices may go up and down. Food prices. Food is again seasonal. For example, vegetable prices, tomato prices was at 400 rupees. But that was because some supplier related issues. That's not indicative of the overall economy as such. So saying that inflation will remain high, may remain high because of possibility of overlapping food price shocks may also take place. So that may push inflation. Okay, so that is what the governor had said. Now, what is alarming is that we expect horticulture prices like vegetable, onion, tomato prices to go up and down. They are seasonal, they are perishable. Vegetables are perishable, they go bad. So that is fine. We expect that. We need to take measures, fine, fine. But what is concerning, alarming actually, is the very high cereal inflation. Cereal diet, staple is the staple diet. They are not perishable. Rice, dal, right? But then it is still very, very high. So that's a matter of concern. So cereal inflation is at 10.65%, and even the pulse inflation continues to remain high. So that is concerning. Now, what steps can be taken? So, first reason has been mentioned is the extension of the El Nino, one of the reasons, and we saw 26%. The rains were 26% below normal, and plus unpredictability, the distribution of rain, so that also affects. So that data is not very difficult to state actually, but we all knew that the southern part of India were having a drought-like situation, while north was having surplus rains, and that too at an undue time. So the harvesting season, the sowing season got affected because of that. Now measures. So the measures simply put by this paper, it is saying Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, which was announced. So provide subsidized grains to the people. So here at free it will be provided. The scheme was extended for the next 5 years. Next, more needs to be done to augment supplies. Supplies are getting affected. That's why the push food prices are going up. So increase the supply, ensure the supplies. Now, one of the things that the government has been doing to augment supplies is restrictions on exports. Right. So such scheme may be relooked. There was actually criticism on it, but here it's a bit in favor that this may lead to farmer opposition. But maybe this is required given that inflation figure is so high. Add to this, long-term measure could be bringing in green revolution to Eastern India, so that can be done, right? So in the western part, the focus has been there. So why not move to the east? Give more focus here also. Next article, arms and the man and AI. Focus is not on science actually in this news article opinion, but it is more on the international part. Let's see what the author says. So he's saying that in September, there was a resolution passed by the UNGA, which said that there needs to be a look at the global rules on military use of AI. So it was basically a directive to the United Nations Secretary General, the administrative officer of the UN, to look into this issue. So about 164 countries voted on this. US and its allies voted in favor of this. China abstained, and India voted against it. So it was simply that UNSG look into the issue of responsible military use of AI. Now, in lines with this, the UNSG has formed a committee to look into this issue. The committee will then give its reports to the UNGA. Fine. So till now, and based on that report, UNGA may further pass a resolution. Because I was looking for a UNGA resolution number, I could not find it. So then I said it was only for this purpose, the committee thing over here. That's why nothing. I couldn't find the number basically. Okay. So the theme that we get from this news now is responsible military use of AI. So this is again science and tech plus ethics, right? Military use of AI, artificial intelligence, machines making a decision to kill a person or not. So there is an ethical dimension to this. Okay, that is there. Now, what are the trends going on with this regard? And why did India voted against it? And why did China abstain from voting? And is US serious when it voted in favor of having something to do with responsible military use of AI? Okay. So, yeah, so what are the trends? So, first thing is very clear. We are going to see military use of AI. That is given. That's understood. No matter what anybody says, but that is going to take place. We are seeing the trends. We are seeing the use of drones. So, drones can be AI, use of AI can be done over there. So, that is a possibility. Besides, as far as the US is concerned, as far as US is concerned, especially with respect to its possible conflict with China in the Pacific region, US has a kind of asymmetry. China has more people, it has more mass, so numerical advantage is there in case of a conflict. So US, what they can do is they can use AI powered weapons, AI powered military. So that can be there. So that this can offset the mass advantage, the people advantage that China has. Okay, so that is one thing. Second is from from China's perspective, if you look at it, China's already investing in creating an intelligent sized PLA, People's Liberation Army. They are already investing in it, right? So when they are already investing in it, so US also has to invest in the same so that they remain ahead of China. US has this strategy of asymmetric strategy as far as defense is concerned. That means US has an asymmetrical advantage. It is way above advantage, be it technology, be it weapons, whatever, as compared to the other countries. US tends to invest much more in the defense also. Then coming to so China will definitely, they are neutral on this issue because they want to move towards this aspect. Okay. Any regulation on this may hinder those, hinder their developmental initiatives, AI, military related things. From India's point of view, India is trying to balance national security, ethics, and global governance. Now, from India's point of view, India is concerned with China, and India is aligning with the US, probably with an eye on China. Right? So AI, use of AI, military use of AI, etc., can actually benefit India in that regard. India would like to have a free hand. So thereby, maybe India, they have not explained as to why they did not vote against it, but that one of the reasons, possible reasons, could be free hand. Nothing here. 9 things to do for clean air. So we have this article from a writer, a director of Indian Institute of Human Settlements. So very simple steps are there. So first step is saying is limit emissions. Of course, pollution is there because of emissions. Emissions reduce emissions. Second is limit crop residue burning, stubble burning in the nearby areas. Good, logical. Next, affordable green urban public transport. So public transport is there, fine. Green urban public transport. Maybe public transports which runs, which is environmentally sustainable, which is using renewables, so that can be there. In fact, you can add to this the issue of transit-oriented development model also. Moving to renewables, we have this electrification of vehicles, buildings, production processes, so that can be done. Electrification shall be powered by renewables. Then a very interesting point, which we are kind of aware of, adopting a regional or airshed approach. We are already doing that. Delhi, the nearby areas should also look at to the pollution issue. Thereby, we can look into the issue of Delhi as well. So we have this graded response action plan, which is implemented by CAQM. Okay, so adopting a regional or airshed approach. So that should be there. End-to-end construction and waste management. Strong legislation and enforcement of regulations. You see, you make all this limit emissions and all those things, but somebody has to decide it and then implement it. Logical step. wide-scale citizen mobilization for awareness. So steps remain the same. Now, citizens have to take part in it, otherwise there is no point. Consider the case of Diwali. The Supreme Court has banned so many times firecrackers, but government also puts restrictions, but people fire. So, in fact, fine. So, whatever issue, citizen engagement is required. Citizen awareness is required. And then funds are required. So funding, and then use of new age science and tech, maybe better regulation of emissions and all those things. So that can be done by the latest technology, more research in that. So that can be done. Applications of nanotech and all those things can be added. International news. Hospital encircle Gazans. Okay, fine. Gaza-related violence is taking place. Fine. Hamas is looking at releasing of 70 hostages in return for a 5-day truce. Coming to the economy news again, dollar and oil rates. So this is 83 and US is 83 and oil is 82 rupees. Now, because of the rising dollar and rising price of the oil import bill has increased. So weaker rupee means stronger dollar. So this has pushed India's oil import bill. It's very simple. What is dollar rate? $82.09 per barrel. Now dollars, we have to spend, what is a dollar? 83.33. If 83.33 becomes 90 rupees, we are spending more dollars. So overall money that is spent is more. Okay. So this has led to half-yearly increase in the spending. So current account deficit must have also be increased. Okay. Previously, we heard about inflation in the editorial section. Now there is a mention of wholesale inflation. So previous inflation that we were referring to, that was at the retail level, that was CPI. This includes goods and services. Now we have WPI inflation, which is at the wholesale level. So this is inflation which reflects prices at producers' end, and this remains below retail inflation. So it says that this is actually at minus 0.52%. So it is coming down. It's actually deflation. Deflation is falling of the prices. There is another term, disinflation. So let me just quickly, normally there is a doubt. Inflation, price rise, price, time, price rise, inflation. Disinflation is reduction in the inflation rate. So for example, inflation was 8%, 7%. So this is disinflation. Deflation is fall in prices. So WPI is witnessing deflation, minus it is given, so deflation. Now, who releases the wholesale inflation, WPI? It is released by the Department of Economic Advisor within Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So they are saying manufactured products, clothing prices went up, but decline in leather, rubber, metal industries. Now they're saying that there is a strong economic growth coupled with demand. Now I'll tell you. Okay, I didn't read this. Government to invite bid for 20 critical mineral blocks. Right, so this is there, 20 critical mineral blocks for lithium graphite mines. So that is there. Now these are important for India for achieving net zero emissions by 2070 for 70 semiconductor sector. Right, for EVs, we all need lithium graphite. These are there. From graphite, we can get graphene. So that is there. Now, again, India meets 70% of its lithium requirement via imports. So that will also help get help with this. Okay. At the moment, EV penetration is 1%. We want it to be 30% by 2030. So again, so reduction in import by then it will be great. Food subsidy likely to exceed budget estimate by 18,000 crores. So it says likely to exceed 18,000 crores budgeted expenditure and it will go to rupees 2.14 trillion. So this is half yearly. So what is the annual then? So annual expenditure is 4.8 lakh crore. So presently it is like 2.14 lakh half yearly. So uh, last year it was 4.8 lakh crore. And with the announcement of the extension of the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, this may go further up. This article was very interesting. India's unemployment level at record low. Okay, it is saying unemployment level. So if it is low, it is obviously a good thing, right? Unemployment is declining, that means. But we get government data, NSO data, that unemployment is up, right? It is at 5%, 6%, 8%. Most recent I heard was 8%. So the SBI economist is countering this view that unemployment is going up. They are countering this view. They are saying that there are many people now who are going into self-entrepreneurship. Many people that are working as helpers in entrepreneur like initiatives. This is possible because of government schemes like PM Swanidhi Yojana, Stand Up India, Mudra Yojana, so all those things. Right. So that is there. The economists are wrongly attributing self-entrepreneurship with unemployment. In fact, I would say people pursuing higher education is also reflected sometimes as unemployment. Okay. And those who are